welcome to this online service of Unity of Boerne. We're so glad you're with us. If you are new and you're just tuning in, we welcome you. If you're an old friend, it's good to see you again. We invite you to be here when you, and if you are able, to be part of House of Love. This morning we'll be talking about the idea of just like magic. And I invite you to stay tuned. Be blessed by it. We love you. We're going to see you. Come join us.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Ann King. We're glad to have you all here today. We're glad to have India with us again. She's getting to be kind of a regular with us, and that's nice. So we're going to stand, first of all, for our joy song, number 14, All Things Bright and Beautiful.
I like that.
Great song. Is this anybody's first time here? I know Todd was here last week. Is this your first time?
Second time.
Second? Okay. It's nice to have everybody back again. And inside your bulletin, you are going to find a prayer request form for any prayer request you may have. And there's a prayer box on the back table, and you can drop them in before church, or if you're up here, you can drop them in after church. They're prayed for by our own prayer circle for a week, and there's also sent to Silent Unity for them prayed over for 30 days, and we all know the power of root prayer and focusing on the positives. So if you have anything, you can do that. On the announcements, this is our last Sunday of February. We usually say just take the insert out if you want the information, but today you can take the whole order of service if you want it, because you have a brand new one next week when you come. We have a Sunday morning discussion group from 9:30 to 10:30. We only had 3 of us today, but we did a lot of discussing, so you're welcome to come to that anytime, join at any time. You don't have to really read ahead or anything else. We read a little bit, we talk a lot, we have coffee and tea and a lot of conversations. We are looking currently for volunteers. We have not had since post-COVID, I guess, since we were shut down for so long, greeters, but we're starting, the congregation, believe it or not, is starting to build back up again. There's a lot of people absent today for various reasons, but we would like to have a greeter back at the front door from about 11:15 on to pass out the order service and visitor packets if it's someone new. We also always need daily word readers and worship assistants. Right now, we need worship assistants March, April, and May. And the little clipboard is back there somewhere on the desk. Is it, Chris? Oh, it's right there. Chris has it. She'll put it back. But we need worship assistants for all of March and April and May, which is what I'm doing now. And it's really easy to do because you have a little script here. You only do so much, and then you give it to Jay, and he takes over from there. We also are good on daily word readers for this month, coming month of March, but we do need them for April and May. And you'll see Christina when she comes up here what she does, but we also have a little script for that. So if you can volunteer, please put your name down for those things. Also, too, we have brand new daily words in the back. You're welcome to take one. They're for March and April. March begins, sometime?
Day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow, okay, come in. So, anyway, if you want to be a greeter, let a board member or Jay or somebody know, and we're going to get a, is that on our thing, the greeter?
No, we don't have a slot for it anymore.
Okay, I told Patricia, so we should have a sign-in sheet with greeters too pretty soon. So, and of course, at some point in the service when we do the offertory, we need an usher, and if you're interested in that, tell Jay. Let's see, we have a lot of ongoing Zoom activities. Book study, What the Mystics Know, is on Sunday evening at 7 p.m. There are 3 different Course in Miracles groups. Bob Patterson, who used to do Course in Miracles up here, now it's done at Morningside. He has, and on Zoom, Monday at 7 p.m. and Tuesday at 2 p.m. And Reverend Jay does one Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Zoom. And there's also the Pathlighters on Thursday. And that login information is in your order of service. You can also go onto our website and get that. So, let's see. Daily Word, Christina? Is it Christina or Christina?
Christina.
Christina, okay. Just move my stuff out of the way.
Hey, good morning.
As we quietly and gently prepare for the reading of the Daily Word, we remember that we are in spirit with millions of Daily Word readers in churches throughout the world. The Christ candle is lit as a reminder of the Spirit of God within all of us, which we call the Christ within. The word for today is comforted. The affirmation is, I am enfolded in God's comforting peace. I like to travel through life lightly with a happy heart, but sometimes I am laid low by a seeming insurmountable obstacle or loss. I understand that painful periods visit everyone occasionally. I am open to my feelings of sadness and sorrow and seek the comfort of God's presence in myself and in my loved ones. As I become willing to embrace my feelings while I process my pain, I trust I will be comforted. Pain has come to pass. God's love and strength remain and will be with me always. I am grateful for the encouragement of friends and family. Their loving support comforts me. Even when no one is by my side, I know that I am not alone. I find comfort in the Christ presence within me. I move bravely through the pain, enfolded in the comforting peace of God. In Scripture it is written, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. In Matthew 5:4. Again, the affirmation is, I am enfolded in God's comforting peace. My name is Christina. Thank you for worshiping with us at Unity of Boerne.
Thank you.
Okay. Please stand. We're going to have our congregational affirmation, which we will say together. I affirm
that I use my power and discernment and wisdom to create the life I was born to live. I freely forgive myself and others for making all mistakes and am remade in my true image. There is nothing unlike me I wish to experience. I know I receive as I give, and my life reflects this in a wonderful way, and so it is.
Remain standing, and we're going to sing New Horizons.
Rises up before our view. God is blessing me and you. There are castles in the air, dreams that we can share. Love is everywhere too. New horizons we are sure to find in our rose winter time. With Christ to show the way, we will live. The sun will rise as the bluebird flies over new horizons for me and you.
Thank you. And please remain standing. We'll have our opening prayer together.
Unity of Boerne is a vibrant, loving, spiritual community providing sacred space for personal growth. We honor and celebrate the Christ within all people.
Thank you. Please be seated now, and I'm going to turn this over to Reverend Jay for the remainder of the service. Do you have any service?
No, we didn't do it up there. Thank you. As I say each week, Unity of Boerne is a praying church. Prayer is really an act of love. It comes from the deepest part of ourselves. It is the unheard cry of so many hearts. It's those things that we hold in our minds that sometimes comfort us, sometimes trouble us, sometimes we're perplexed. And I invite you right now to take your loving energy and place it in your attention is what is represented in this box. And together we'll uplift those who have prayer requests. Is there anyone who has not filled out a prayer request who would like to? Okay. In her loving presence, you know the requests that are in this box. You know the story behind the people who have written these requests. We affirm your presence with them now, your guidance. You uplift them. You are the comforter that comes and heals every heartbreak and heals every sorrow. We invoke your perfect will right now for the lives of those who are represented with prayers in this box. We also hold our world in the highest light of love, especially right now at this time. So many things are happening we don't understand. We place faith in the perfect power and principle of love. We know that good will come out of seeming discord. We uphold the people of Ukraine right now and those who suffer under tyranny that they don't understand and did not ask for. We affirm wisdom, divine order, and guidance in the lives of those who are affected. And we know that as we think wonderful thoughts, as we think wonderful thoughts of healing, health, wholeness, harmony, and peace, it is done. There is no distance in spirit. We boldly proclaim this now. We stand with those who hurt, and we send our loving ideas and presence to those people who are affected. We give thanks that we're able to do this. And so it is. Amen.
Today's message song is one that I wrote. It's called Wings of Butterflies. And it's about how we are transformed when we live according to Spirit's guidance, with new freedom and a new story.
morning and welcome to Unity of Boerne. The sun came in just after we started, and we give you a big welcome. Look forward to seeing you after the service. This morning I wanted to speak to you about magic, what is just like magic. And I know if you're like me, you probably enjoy a good magic trick. And I remember David Copperfield make a 747 disappear. And I thought to myself, when I saw that, there's got to be a trick to it. So now you can't make, 100 tons of steel disappear. And one thing that a magician friend of mine told me, he said, if we can't give out the secrets of the craft, it's kind of an oath we take. And actually, some people know the fellow that I'm talking about who comes here, James Hubbard, who's a pretty good magician. And he said, but I give you a hint. He said, we believe what we want to believe. In other words, when I asked him more about it, he said, you've got to remember that most people, when they see a magic trick, they really want it to work. They want the enjoyment. And that's part of what the magician depends upon. So when I saw that 747 disappear, I thought I must have wanted to in some way, but there were a whole lot of other people must have wanted to, and I gave up trying to understand what it's about. It's a secret of the craft. But the magic that I'm talking about also parallels that in a way today, because all of us know times, and I'm sure I'm going to ask for a show of hands, how many times have you found serendipity and magic appear in your life in a seemingly a time that you didn't expect it? We've all had serendipity, and Wayne Dyer called that real magic. And what I think he meant by that, and from the limited contact I had with him, we shared a podium once or twice, and he said if I could get anybody to understand anything that I'm saying, it would be to realize that in your mind there is a genie, and that genie is constantly asking, what will you have? And what you answer to that question is large part what you're going to experience in your life. If for nothing else, on the lowest level, our ego wants to be right about what we tell ourselves. What my job here to do is to get us to expand that, get out of our ego self, get into our higher self, and realize that what we think about, we bring about, and when we bring about it, we're blessed by it if we are open to the highest good for ourselves and all concerned. In other words, if we don't do what the old metaphysician said, outlining. And outlining is asking, or sometimes demanding, that it be done my way. I must have the thing that I want come to me just as I want it. And I was thinking about my own life and the times that I had to put that to the test when I wasn't quite where I am right now. I remember it was sometime in the early 90s that I had to write out a check to Internal Revenue Service for over $5,000. And I'm going to tell you, I was sick. I was sick about that day that I found that out from the accountant. That night, I talked to anybody who had the misfortune to be in my company and listen about this. I just went at $5,000 that I looked at my spouse at the time. I said, what I do that they want my $5,000? I mean, I was really, and the bad thing about it is that I was a truth student and I knew our principles, but when he gave me $5,000, wait a minute, God, I'll get back to you. But here's what happened. I wrote that check out trembling, as Emmett Fox said. Do it trembling, but do it. And it did. And off it went in the mail. A week later, to the day, my friend Peter McWilliams, who wrote the books Life 101, You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought, Do It, he was prolific. He called me and he said, if you could handle the Dallas gig for me, he said, I will give you half of the profits of it, and I think that will lead to an engagement for both of us in Little Rock. Long story short, I received most of what I paid back, and I got the added effect of reaching more people with what we were teaching, and basically was New Thought, and had more people ask to hear what we had to say about those wonderful books. And of course you all know that Life 101, You Can't Afford the Luxury of Negative Thought, and Do It are a triad of three wonderful books that took New Thought and brought it to the masses. And it was in the early 90s, late 80s that this happened. If you haven't read any of those, I invite you to. It's a great modern take on the principles that we love. So just like magic, I felt like I was replenished when I went to Dallas. And I got to meet a whole new group of people and influence a whole new group of people by whatever effect my words might have had. And I realized you can't outgive the universe. That's the magic one of the principles of the magic that I'm talking about. I've never seen somebody who gives from the abundance of their heart that claims that they are emotionally poverty-stricken. In other words, givers are happy people. And I could have been happy to give that $5,000 if I had aligned my mind with my intention. I mean, obviously, I want to be a good citizen, I want to do the right thing, but not that much of a right thing. I could have done it for half the price or a quarter price, but see, it still hangs on a little. And, you know, still think about it. But actually, I finally came to see that, you know what, in somewhere that I'm not aware of, that's going to bless some people. In some way that I'm not aware, I affirm that it blesses people, and it came back to me. The willingness to allow yourself to be wrong. Now that one hurts. You have to be willing to think that my ideas about how this should turn out and be could be wrong. So what do I do about that? I align with the spiritual principles that I know already. God is good, omnipresent, omniscient. Prayer changes things. You know the principles. I hope you do. And I align with that. It lifts me up immediately. And I'm able to walk into the new intention I have. And as you know, I place a great amount of stock in intention. I've always said there's a great deal of difference between somebody who walks down the street and smashes your foot with their foot, or one who does it inadvertently. The intention means everything. Hopefully we forgive both. But we realize our intention is not to smash other people or ourselves. Our intention is to grow from and grow through what's in front of us. And just like magic, things change because our attitudes change. And if it's one thing that I learned in the secular world that was a big thing in the business world was your attitude is everything. Regardless of whether you're an atheist, a believer, somewhere in the middle, your attitude, as they said, determines your altitude. And I found that to be true in our new thought. It's always coming back to us. The problem is sometimes we want not to have it on us. We want it somewhere else, someplace else that I don't have to think about it as much. And we're really being creators in our lives, being the authors in a large part of our experience. We really want to be able to make the decisions. We want to have the responsibility. We should rather say maybe, I'm apprehensive, I haven't gone through this before, but the light of truth, the Christ truth inside me, the Buddha truth inside me guides me. Whatever you want to call it. As Wayne Dyer said, I don't think this power cares if you call it God, Christ, or Louise. It cares that you use it. And what it is love. It is nothing less than the power of love. When I see Christ, I see love. And why is that? Because I know that Christ was a person who saw the face of God in everybody he met. And as the old metaphysicians say, unity. That Christ in me salutes the Christ in you. That's what they would say when they would meet one another. If we did that to one another, not necessarily audibly, but if we did that to one another today and really meant it, think about how we could change our world. Think about what we would see calling forth the best in each other. Right now, the magic that I believe that we need is to remember who we are. I can't say too much that you and me and everyone, whether they know it or not, are living embodiments of love. And long after we set aside what some people call this meat sack that surrounds us, that the only thing that will count is the love that we gave and the love that we received. When we choose in favor of love, it seems like magic because it's such a light and wonderful and beautiful experience. It heals so well. I've never seen it fail. And it helps to remember that behind all fear whether it's yours or mine or the persons you come in contact with, there is a person that is either giving a call for love or is asking you, please understand me. No matter what they may be acting like out front. It's always a call for love if it's negative. And if it's positive, it's giving love. So you see, we play in this arena and we don't pay too much attention to the fear. Fear is the energy to do your best in a new situation. I've said fear is the old acronym, false education appearing real, but I also think that fear is the energy to do your best in a new situation. It's the apprehension. You know the feeling if you've been on a roller coaster just before you go over the top and you know it's coming, and that's an apprehension. We would call that good. But then there's an apprehension and we find out we owe the IRS $5,000 and we call that, or I called it, bad. It's same energy, same feeling, same adrenaline glands doing the same thing. But it's our thoughts that make the difference, is whether it's a positive experience or a negative. I remember when I first started in this work and somebody had faith in me and said, you're not only going to teach classes, you're going to go out and be a minister in this, and I know it. And many of you know the story. It was Reverend Jack Bowen who believed in me and said, you will do this work, J. Mulkey, do you believe it? He almost said it like that, and I said, no, I don't. And he said, well, will you let me believe it for you? And I said, all right, that's fine. And he believed it for me till the day that I visited his church and he had set up a little surprise that I didn't know anything about, but his church had literally hundreds of seats and the place was packed and it was an evening and I thought I was going to enjoy listening to all these speakers. And what I didn't know before all this started was that Jack had different plans. In fact, he called me up when he was in the side in the wings waiting and said, just want to welcome you and so glad you're here. Jay, it's wonderful that we get to meet and you're on in 10 minutes. And I really did this and I said, what? And he said, you go out there and do it. And I said, do what? He said, you're going to tell 10 minutes worth of, or 8 minutes rather, worth of your spiritual experience and what things mean to you. I said, Jack, we're about to have the end of a good friendship. He said, you can do it. I said, why? He said, because I know you can. I believe in you. He said, just go out there and tell the truth. I did it. And what I found out was I didn't stumble, I didn't falter. I may have a little bit at the beginning, but all of a sudden it came out of me. Because I love what I teach. I love new thought. I live for this. And I have since 1982, the day I found that daily word in the laundromat. It captured my heart. 82, I'm really dating myself. I bet there's people in here that weren't even born in 1982. But I look back on a rich history and a varied life experience through new thought. And the people that I've met, the wonderful people I've gotten to serve, that culminates right here in doing what I love. That's a form of magic. Because if you'd have asked me in 1982 if I was going to be doing this, I would have said no. 9 years later, I told Jack I'm not going to do it. But he believed in me, and he called forth the best in me. And I went ahead from there. I miss him very much. And if you ever get a chance to hear Jack Bowen, take it. It's wonderful, wonderful things to hear. So today, what I'd like to focus the most on is this idea of what we call magic. Really is something that we can almost set our clocks by as being regular when we do certain things, or what I call fulfill the spiritual conditions of our experience. And what's the first thing we have to do? I've said it before, it's worth saying again. Metaphysics without forgiveness is valueless. We have to forgive ourselves and we have to forgive others. Wholesale, not on the installment plan. Let it go. Forgive it. And know that maybe you would have done the same thing had you been in their shoes? That's a difficult one because we like to separate ourselves even when we think we're forgiving. We say, well, they may do that, but I never would. I'm telling you, it wouldn't affect you if it wasn't part of your mind. We're all very similar. We all have similar ideations about the world. We think we're so separate and so different, but really, we're all the same. There is a oneness, and we don't recognize it enough, I think. And if we did, and we recognized it more, and certain people did a better job of it, we wouldn't be seeing what we're seeing right now in Ukraine, and we wouldn't be seeing what we're seeing sometimes in our own lives when we don't integrate ourselves to the highest and best inside us. It's my job to call that out of each one of you and of myself. This life, as Life 101 appropriately put it, is a classroom. And we all have certain curriculum. And we all seem to get grades. How do you know you get grades? How do you know you need to repeat something? The lesson shows up until it's learned. You'll find things occurring in your life and recurring to the exact proportion that you have either learned the lesson or you need to learn more about it. We all have heard the stories of people in relationships that attract the same person, and attract the same job, or attract the same situation, just different people. It's because there's something in them that needs healing, something in them that needs to learn, something in them that needs to grow. We are students and teachers of one another. And if we're doing it right, we're giving love as the answer to everything that's in front of us. That doesn't mean being a bliss ninny, as Ken Wapnick talks about. Ken Wapnick's a great teacher of A Course in Miracles, and he used the term bliss ninny. We just walk along life and we're blissfully unaffected by the things that go on around us. It doesn't mean that. It means knowing that what we're seeing outside of ourselves is a projection of a fearful dream that we're all dreaming. We can come back inside, make the decision for love, choose once again, and have our peace reestablished. That's magic. Forgiveness, that's the first thing. The second thing is intention. I'm big on intention. You know that. And the intention that you have for yourself and others is going to determine your experience of people and events. Intend the very best for yourself. After you've forgiven yourself and other people, you've got a blank slate. In fact, that's what The Stroke of Midnight is about. John Wayne said, the actor John Wayne said, one of the things that I love about life is that new day comes in fresh and clean, and it's brand new, and it's waiting for us to write the script on it. I never thought of John Wayne as being a metaphysician, but you know what? He said something pretty true. We get a chance to choose day after day after day. And if we choose the same things day after day, we're going to get the same things day after day. When you intend the very best for yourself that you can see, the light that you see by, when you set that intention, you're telling the universe, you're telling the God force, this is what I want, and be sure to add this to it. This or something better for the highest good of all concerned. That's what I call your divine insurance policy, because it allows you to receive even more than you may not have been aware of. The third thing, forgiveness, intention. Third thing is to realize our oneness, and to know that when you think a thought, or you set a goal or an idea, comes to your mind that you want to see lived out, you are also vibrating with the energy of every single person thinking the same thing. In other words, if I set an intention that I would like to take a few pounds off, there's somebody in New York or Calcutta or China or wherever it may be thinking the same thing, just by virtue of the human experience. Our thoughts are powerful. They form a chain around the world for good or ill. You might remember James Allen's pamphlet, As a Man Thinketh. And I really think he meant as a person thinketh, but he was a product of his time. But what he said is, men think in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but their looking glass. So outside of us is our looking glass, the environment. And we know that when people are thinking these same thoughts and we're thinking those thoughts, we know by the power of that thinking, we're harmonizing with those, whether 1 feet away, 1,000 feet away, 1,000 miles. It doesn't matter. There is no distance in thought. Ken Keyes did a wonderful, wonderful study about that in a book called 100th Monkey, in which when one primate changed their behavior in eating in one area of the world, it was automatically started happening on the other side of the world in the same primate. I'm talking about chimpanzees. They were not brought together by anything but thought. Thought is powerful. Thought is the very thing we live by. It is a divine thought that puts us to bed and wakes us up. You're a miracle. Zach Mandino said, you're the greatest miracle in the world. And I want each and every one of you to act like that. Don't act like I did when I get that bill. Say, this is for my good in some way. And I know that this experience is going to be a blessing to someone. I learned that. Sometimes we have to learn it through experience, and sometimes we have the wisdom to realize somebody else who's saying this has been there and they're trying to give us a hand. Learn we will, one way or another. We'll either be pulled, kicking and screaming through life, or we'll be willing students. And I invite you all this morning to experience the magic of a changed attitude that says, I'm willing to learn, grow, and expand, and I affirm prosperity, abundance, riches, loving, caring, and sharing. All those things that we talk about, but that we need to internalize and let the magic alchemy that is the Christ Spirit mix with those intentions and give us a harvest and a blessing that we didn't expect. That's the beauty of life. We get to sow seeds and we get to see them blossom. And the seeds you sow are what you're going to get. So think about what you're thinking about this morning, because it is magic. You know, when you drop a seed into the ground and something sprouts up out of that little tiny hard seed, we see a green plant. That's magic. And then when it grows even further into a bush or a tree and bears fruit, that's real magic. And you know what? There's so much around us, we take it for granted. We live in a miraculous world. We are miracles. As I said, and I agree, as Og Mandino said, you are the greatest miracle in the world. All you need to do is remind yourself of that on a consistent basis. Every day when you wake up, you should have something when you look in the mirror, something that you post. And I have little 3x5 cards, and I'll say, what good am I expecting today? And then I will write down what it is that I want. Cards like that, carry them with you. Place them where you see them. Not my favorite thing to see my reflection first thing in the morning, but I love seeing those cards. Those cards are my intention for what I want to have the day be like. And sometimes I reuse the cards, but what it does is in the morning it sets the tone for the day. What I'm really trying to say here this morning is that there is a magic to life, and there's a magic to you, and there's a harmony to you. And if you get in touch with that and in tune with the infinite, as the book said, I think it was written by Ralph Waldo Emerson, be in tune with the infinite. Take a step back from your life. Look at what you want to manifest. Forgive. Forgive radically. Give yourself another chance. Give the other person another chance. And if you can't come to an agreement in person, at least let there be no resentment between you all in thought. You see, it's really a do-it-yourself project. But you have a toolbox in unity and new thought that you can use and gain abundantly from. God is good, omniscient, omnipresent, always good, and what's true of God is true of you. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you're a miserable sinner in need of grace. The world's seen enough of that. And when you see that, you know what comes of that. Guilty people acting guiltily. And what comes with guilt? Anger. And what comes with anger? Violence. Jesus Christ's message that says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, body, and strength, and your neighbor as yourself. On this hangs all the laws of the prophet. That message shook the mighty world. And it still can today when we recognize it. The wonderful New Thought teachers that took this and brought it in amalgamation for us as a set of guidelines that said the world and God is good. There's nothing in us that resists that good except our own personalities. Well, if we have to deconstruct that personality, let's go ahead and do it and make room for something more wonderful, more blessed to come and take its space. It's hard for the ego to release its grip. It really is. It's a daily job. We've got to choose over and over and over and over again. Because it's the nature of the world we live in. I call it classroom earth. We're in a classroom and we're going to be graded not by a cosmic judge in the sky. That's only love. We're graded by how we act with one another and the fruitage we produce. And it wouldn't be complete for me if I didn't quote the wonderful, wonderful words of Mary Baker Eddy that I love and start my day with. To those leaning on the sustaining infinite, today is big with blessings. And divine love has always and will always meet every human need. Isn't that what Jesus said 2,000 years prior? Think about it. Think about your oneness with all of humanity. And when you're tempted to judge yourself or other people, apply love liberally. Hold yourself accountable, but do it gently. Remember, you're a work in progress. Your life's not over. You have a gift we all need. And I want to see it. The world wants to see it. They're waiting for it, especially at this time. I send each and every one of you peace and love and joy on your way. Thank you for being here this morning. And remember the very best about yourself and other people. That's what's worth remembering. The rest you can forget. It didn't mean much anyway. Hold on to the love you are. God bless you.
Application.
Right now, I invite you to take a moment to take a deep breath, to be aware of where you are. To allow the Christ Spirit within you, or the name that you're comfortable with, the God of your understanding. Allow it recognition right now. Each of us have places inside us that we need healing just by virtue of the fact of living every day. We pick up ideas and concepts that are not for our best, and in this moment, we can release those and take abundantly from the fount of healing. We relax into this presence. The love that we are sustains us and strengthens us. Things that we have accrued over this past week or year or years melt in the sunshine of the love in front of us, these things that are not for our highest good. We forgive ourselves and others. We make a declaration inside. Today is a new day, and I am remade every moment, and I choose in favor of the love that I am right now. And as we release those things that we know are not for our good, we embrace the possibilities inherent in this new moment. We say, I am in the presence of love. I am a child of the loving God. I am wisdom. I am strength. I am understanding. And most of all, I am love. And in this quiet time, we're receptive to the messages that we need to hear. And we listen for the messages that we need, particular to us, for a life more abundant. In this sacred moment, we are remade in our true image and likeness, because we realize that our spiritual path is not so much one of addition but subtraction. We let those things go that mar and tarnish our real image, our true image. It feels better inside, and we will give that to those we meet. And we will recognize the love they are. We take the united middle force of our love right now and place it in a country and a people so far away from us. We surround that ravaged area with our love, with our intentions for peace peace. And know that divine right action can and will heal parent discord. In this moment of personal integration, we become like that we wish to experience. And in this time of recreation, we set an intention to be open to manifest, be open to receive, grounded in the love we are and that we recognize right now. We gently bring our attention back to the present, feeling alive and alert, awake. We know we've been remade in this moment by our decisions to let go everything unlike what we wish to experience and lay claim to the wonderful things of spirit that are ours because of who and whose we are. We give thanks abundantly, and so it is. Now we come to the time in our service where it's our privilege to give, because we know that as we give, we receive. It blesses us and it blesses the receiver. We also know that by very virtue of ministry that we do here, we need your tithes and offerings to continue the work we do. And those of you who are tuning in online, invite you to press the PayPal button at the bottom of your page and give the most generous gift of which you're able. If you prefer to mail your gift, please do so to Unity of Boerne, P.O. Box 1973, Boerne, Texas 78006. That's Unity of Boerne, P.O. Box 1973, Boerne, Texas 78006. The magic of giving and receiving, what we celebrate and what you will see in your life. It's impossible to outgive Spirit. We declare you blessed and with abundance with your gifts and your tithe. Could I have, thank you. Together we say, divine love through me
blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I send it forth with my blessings and my love.
Love
On behalf of Reverend Billy and all of us in the Unity
Well,
of
it's already,
Boerne,
it's a
I
little
want to say
right
thank you for being with us
from July
today. It's
25th to 26th,
so
something like that.
important to get
And
what
I guess
we
we're
need
planning
as sustenance and nurturing. And we look forward to seeing you again as soon as possible in person and
the new place.
happy to see you on a wonderful rest of your day.
No, I
and a
think it
good
was
week ahead.
tomorrow's what?